Welcome to Conversations with Barbara. I'm Barbara Kanellopoulos, and my conversation today is with Daniel Gessen. Dan is hoping to be elected to represent Falmouth at the Barnstable Assembly of Delegates. That election is coming up in November, and Falmouth voters will have a chance to choose their delegates. Well, thank you for joining me, Dan.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for having me here. It's a pleasure, and I look forward to talking.
Yes. You know, I think that county government tends to be not center stage in most people's lives in Falmouth. So I think the whole notion of being a delegate to the Barnstable Assembly might be not too familiar. So let's start by talking about what the Barnstable Assembly of Delegates is, and then why you would like to represent Falmouth.
Yeah, of course. So you're absolutely right. Very few people know what the Barnstable County Assembly of Delegates do, much less as well what Barnstable County government does itself. We're the only county government in the state, and one of the very few county governments still around in New England. Counties are just really not an influential or important thing when it comes to the way we're structured here in New England. Some other states, they're completely based on counties, but here in Massachusetts, it's town governments that usually take the lead on local government, and county governments across the state have been dissolved over the last 2 decades. However, obviously, when it comes to Cape Cod, there's a big difference between Barnstable County and the relationships any other county have. Out here in Western Mass, where I go to school, you can cross county lines without even noticing. However, Cape Cod, Barnstable County, you actually enter Cape Cod, and it's a different identity and it's a different sense of unity on that scale, but as well. There's a fact that the towns on the Cape have a tremendous effect on each other when it comes to climate policy, when it comes to wastewater policy, and they also just can really productively work together on everything from dredging to the DPW coordination and to first responder programs. So that's the job of Barnstable County government. It's honestly a large array of small and big projects that are coordinated on a county level. They have their own Department of Health. They have an environmental services department. They have a program there that, for instance, deals with flood insurance. So anything that can be done more effectively on a county level is organized through Barnstable County government. And the assembly is there to represent the towns and in large part to be a voice in policy decisions and financial decisions when it comes to county government.
Yeah, so the assembly is the legislature and it's supposed to be sort of a check and balance on the executive of the commissioners. That's very interesting. And of course that the county is able to get the funding that for some of these projects that towns couldn't do on their own. So it's interesting that of your role, you hope to be a delegate. That's nonpartisan. And yet the commissioners themselves are either Republican or Democrat. That may just be something that's not even important.
No, I mean, I take a lot of pride in this position being nonpartisan. I think it really speaks to the fact that, you're not there to represent a political party. You're there to represent your town, and you're doing it in order to make, our region better. You're there to benefit our region, not benefit a political party. I think when it comes to politics nowadays, everything from the debate last night to politics generally, it's really divisive and distracting.
Yes.
And
right, Daniel, you have said that in your view, local government is the lost bastion of politics. And after last night's debate, I really do agree with you. It's that. And I like what you have said also in your writings that. When local government, really, our arguments are with our neighbors. So there's always that willingness to find common ground. And so, but tell us why you would like to be a delegate. What can you bring to the role?
Absolutely. So I've always been interested in government. Obviously, I'm younger, but even when I was much younger than now, I've always been interested in government, in large part because my parents were refugees from the Soviet Union, and they were in large part political refugees from the Soviet Union. So they were always very aware of, what bad government is and how lucky we are to have the system of governance that we do have in the United States. Everything from it being a democracy to it being also, a federal style government where local issues get to be dealt with locally, and everything is just not top down. So they never let me take for granted how lucky we are to live here in a country like this. And then around the age of 14, I would always discuss politics and with my friends and my teachers. And one of my teachers, my journalism teacher, got me in touch with a local state senate campaign that was going on in the Outer Cape. So I got involved with that. I was 14, a sophomore in high school. And then I just didn't stop from then. I was on a plethora of campaigns. I interned with Senator Warren, and as well as working on a variety of issues here in Falmouth locally, and being a part of town meeting. And overall, it was really, really enjoyable. But at the same time, I got to see the disproportionate and positive effect that local government has on the community and the people that are in it. And so that really motivated me to want to get more and more involved. And I see that this run for Barnstable Assembly as a part of that. And I think now more than ever, we really need to combat bad policy with good policy and bad politics with common sense and unity.
That's really, really interesting. And I applaud your interest in local government, because very often people who are interested in politics don't find that as exciting maybe as national politics. It's a very good beginning. Now, it seems to me that county government also has, and the commissioners and the assembly people are also have a bully pulpit. They can also do more, and also, for example, promote actions toward climate change that's so important here. So it's maybe you can bring something just more than to the role as it's defined now as an assembly person there. So let's hope. Now, voters may be concerned that, pleased that you are young. It's wonderful to see young people entering into politics. It makes us feel as if we've got optimistic for the future. But at the same time, voters are interested in experience. So you have outlined some of the things that you have done. Do you think that you're experienced enough to take on a legislative role?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've definitely at no point, obfuscated the fact that I am a young person. I just turned 20 last month. And I think that's actually a big reason why I would be a benefit to the Barnstable Assembly. Me personally, a big qualification that I see in myself is that, I was born and raised in Falmouth. I really care about the region. I really care about my town. Right now, I'm a student. I'm a political science student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, where I'm a cadet and student force firefighter here, working full-time during the school year. But additionally, I think the real qualifications that qualify someone for a role like this is being competent and having good ideas. I think I have that. In addition, I have a lot to learn. I don't deny that. But then again, anyone that is running for any sort of position and believes that they know everything there is to know about it really should never win a seat like that. I think a large part of being an elected official, especially representative in a legislative body, is knowing that you don't know everything. You're there because you are good at representing the people you seek to represent, not because you know everything. So your goal has to be to listen, and it has to be to make good decisions when the time comes to the specific decisions. And I believe I have that. And lastly, I think a lot of issues in the Cape are intertwined. You can't bring up climate change without thinking of the industry here on the Cape, without then thinking of the job opportunities and the youth. And I think one of the most intertwined issues with everything is just the job opportunities and general opportunities for young people in our region. And I think very few people in local government would be able to speak to it as well as I could.
And it seems to me, too, that you have been involved in Falmouth in other causes as well, important causes. For example, I think that you have lobbied against gun violence. Can you tell us about that and some of your other, the other issues that you've been active in supporting?
Sure. Yeah, of course. I think, yeah, as you mentioned, I was involved, in bringing attention to gun violence prevention in our town. I think that was a really important issue, and I think a lot of progress was made then. The state passed red flag laws, and other common sense laws, which allow people and the state to take away weapons temporarily from people who are at a risk to themselves or others, if they're so reported by officials or by a family member, for instance. I think that's a kind of common sense solution that is really invaluable, would never be able to be effectively, created on a federal level, and that's why we have state government. However, in large part, I also want to take the opportunity to say, when it comes to this race, as I brought up, it's a nonpartisan race. So I'm really insistent and hoping to do my part to, in effect, shift the conversation when it comes to the Assembly of Delegates to issues that really affect Falmouth to its core. And I've had luck with that, as well, advocating for different issues here locally and for different representatives to, for instance, the State House. So yeah, I'm happy.
We do. Cape residents, all of us, have some serious issues ahead. Clean water is our issues of wastewater, and there are always looming issues. There is that proposed gun shooting range that's questionable. What's your thought? What are your thoughts about that? At the military base.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's definitely the headlines. And I think we need to see exactly, it's a shame that we found out about this in such a weird and sudden way, and that Falmouth and other localities weren't part of the conversation when it came to this. In large part, we do live with the military base here in our town, in our region. And it comes with benefits, financial and economic benefits to our towns, which can't be denied. But it also comes with the fact that, we do have a military base in our backyard. And a lot of what goes on in that military base has little or no jurisdiction by the towns.
True.
So I think the most effective thing that we could be doing right now is working with the officials on the base, working on the proposed gun range, in order to get concrete facts about the plans, in order to have answers due to concerns of wastewater contamination, of noise, just of general safety, etc. When it comes to military installations and the equipment and procedures that have to happen on them, a lot of the time, obviously, people don't want things like that in their backyard, and that's absolutely understandable. But at the same time, military preparedness is vital for our country. So I think the most effective thing that could be happening is to make sure that a lot of questions don't go unanswered, and that when the time comes to advocate for or against it, and when the time comes for the towns to take a stance on it, that that we have answers to all the questions that we have. I think that's the most effective thing our local officials can be doing.
Yes, so that even in local government, the difficulty is that trying to settle conflicts between two things that are good, not just one bad thing and one good thing, and weighing those and finding some kind of solution so that we can both have military preparedness and a clean environment. So that it takes a lot of thinking and problem solving, which reminds me again of what you've said about town government as the last bastion of reason, where one uses one reason to figure things out. It seems to me that from what I've read from your website, that you have a kind of, I won't say idealistic view of politics, but a healthy view. You don't see politicians as stereotypically power hungry and without good intentions, and that's good. Can you talk about your sense of what the political life should be?
Yeah, I mean, to be really frank, like, you're gonna have jerks no matter what in society, and in life in our towns. We all know people, that are the most savory people, but that doesn't mean that we have to be electing people to office, right? A large people like that to office. A large part that people often gloss over is the fact that obviously everyone likes to rat on politicians, but politicians are a reflection of the people that elect them. So I think if people can be distracted by really hot button but irrelevant issues to themselves, right? Like, there's certain issues that really matter to Falmouth, to Cape Cod, and those issues should be on the forefront of our discourse. And if people were focused on those issues, they would be able to elect competent officials that could solve many problems that we're facing right now. On the other hand, if people allow themselves to be distracted by hot button debates and topics that have little or no power to be changed on a town or county level, that's when you're going to get. That's when you're going to elect individuals who are subpar and who don't have the best interests of our region in mind. And I think that's a really, really valuable thing about, for instance, a show like yours, but just in general, the idea of informing the public. I think the more focus we bring to issues that matter to us locally, the better representation we're going to have at all levels of government, and the better results we're going to have.
Yes, you have written that, which is, I find really interesting, that the hot button, the person who, the politician or the person who wants to be elected, who likes creating havoc and kind of creating dissension, that's not accidental. That sometimes that's part of the plan. Which is kind of surprising to me, that it isn't the byproduct of political life. It is an intentional thing. I think you said that very often the lower the rating, the better chance of being elected. Let's speak to that for a bit, because I think that's so much what we're seeing at the national level.
Yeah, of course. I think for the longest time, our countries, and most democracies have seen that the best way to get elected is by proposing good ideas and good policy. However, at the same time, when you have an electoral system that's really driven so much by special interests, it's really hard to run on good policy when your special interests are not in support of that policy, right? So you have to find another way to run. So the new vogue way that politicians run for office is through two things: A, gerrymandering, and B, just vile cynicism of the other side, right? If your campaign platform is elect me so that that guy doesn't win, um, you have the best chance of winning right now in our political system. And sadly, um, that is proven really effective uh, when it comes to politics and elections. But when it comes to governance, we see the result of it. That's why Congress has, I think, right now a 9% approval rating.
Mhm.
They keep getting reelected, and it's really, really sad. So I think when it comes to local government, we just have to make sure that we don't allow those kind of that kind of political discourse to enter into the way we govern ourselves on a town level.
So that will, we need to bring that forward, that we need to change the political climate then and political discourse, perhaps through education, perhaps having students in high school more engaged in civil projects, so that they students have a chance to actually work out some projects to find out how the best way is to convince others that they should come along with a good idea. So it seems to me that you have had some of that experience at Falmouth High School.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where I first got involved in anything, was as a sophomore in high school. I think a lot of young people, especially this year, everyone who was in my grade and the grade directly below me and the grade directly above me, this is going to be the first year and the first time in their life that they're going to be able to vote in a presidential election. I personally have never voted in a presidential election myself. And I think that it's going to be very influential on our generation. And I think a lot of young people are really excited to be a part of it. Sadly, oftentimes, many people don't know how to get involved, like where to channel their energy and their excitement. And I think a large part of our local governance and our local officials should be finding ways for our young people to get involved. If you give high schoolers and young professionals an opportunity to have a say in their local government, trust me, they're going to want to get involved. There is no reason why people my age shouldn't be regularly sitting on everything from the planning board in Falmouth to the zoning board, and people, like, they have ideas, they have competence, they have energy. Let's make that happen.
Yes, I find that wonderful. That's an exciting idea. And then perhaps we need also schools to not to have civics courses that are not textbook civics, but real civic engagement. I would seem to me that would be a good idea. Let's hope that this is the kind of thing that will happen. Tell us something about your personal life. What sorts of things about your studies, about your hobbies, something about what you do on your own for leisure activities.
Of course. I'm a pretty involved person here at my university and outside of it as well. Obviously, this year is a weird year. Everything's remote at UMass, at least, and everything is remote in life almost completely. But myself, when things are normal, I'm a cadet here at UMass in the ROTC program, which provides me also, in addition, my scholarship to go to school. At the same time, I'm also a student force firefighter, which is the first time I ever heard about this program was when I went to UMass. I don't know if there's a similar one anywhere else out there, but out here we as students, actually run our own engine company.
Really?
We work on shifts. We get trained as volunteer firefighters to that level, and we run our own shifts. And we have a whole chain of command up to deputy chief, who's also a student. And it's one of the most enjoyable things I do. And over the summer, while we were all quarantining, and when the semester ended early, that's what I focused a lot on, is getting my pump operator certification, which means I would get to actually drive and operate the engine. So that's one of my favorite things to do in my free time. But yeah, otherwise, I like to read and be involved in local governance, and just make sure that I talk so much about being an informed voter. So I definitely make sure that I'm always informed on the issues myself.
Yes, and that sounds like a wonderful program. I wonder if other universities have that. Is it something that was available when you arrived at school, or something that just began this year? This firefighters.
Yeah, so the Engine 3 engine company out here has existed for over 60 years now, I'm pretty sure. Maybe a little under that. And it's very rich with tradition out here. It's a big out there. It's a big thing that people take pride in, and I definitely do.
So you made a good choice in going to UMass.
Definitely, absolutely. It's not something I thought I'd get involved in college or ever, but I very much enjoy it.
Getting back to Cape Cod and the Assembly of Delegates, what are some of the other issues besides that you see that are critical issues for Cape Cod, and maybe one of the reasons why we are one of the few county governments, perhaps because of our fragile environment? But what do you see in addition to wastewater and climate change as, I know one of the issues that the commissioners are going to talk about is affordable housing. And yet being a young person, you may be concerned about the fact that it's difficult to keep young persons on the Cape.
Yep. Yes, I've spoken to that issue many times. I think the plight of young people on Cape Cod is one of the main issues that we have to deal with, but B, also speaks to many other systematic issues in our region. I think that, for instance, as you said, why are young people leaving our region? One of them is affordable housing, a lack of year-round job opportunities, year-round industry. We've always kind of taken for granted an area for younger people on Cape Cod. However, many people would be shocked to know that over the last 20 years, since the 2000 census at least, over the age of 65 in our region has risen by over 60%. That there is a massive shift happening in our region, so it's not politics or life as usual on Cape Cod when it comes to young people leaving. It's really showing that there's many systemic issues that need to be dealt with locally and regionally. That goes, again, affordable housing. We need to talk about year-round job opportunities. And I think Barnstable County government is a very creative, or has the potential to be a very creative branch. There's no outline of what the county needs to do. But we're the only county government in Massachusetts, and that gives us a lot of leeway and creativity to what our job is. And I think attracting industries, anything from green energy industries to general industries, would be a massive boon to our local economy. It would bring hundreds of jobs in if you had like an industry such as Hui. It just shows us how it's the largest employer in Falmouth, and it also, of course, brings with it more opportunities for first responders, with more people, more childcare workers, more teachers. So year-round industries should be on the forefront of the county's interests. But also, on a different note, the plight of young people also speaks to a lack of opportunity, which also speaks to the opioid epidemic in our region. That's a really popular thing for politicians to bring up on the campaign trail, is the opioid epidemic. I don't think a single race has been run where a candidate that won hadn't brought the opioid epidemic up in their campaign.
Yes.
However, I would really like to see that proportionally shift to actual results on the issue. We, of course, get into heated debates with needle exchanges and such, but which are controversial, and rehabilitation centers, which I think are important, but again, they lead to debate. But at the same time, I think we could be investing in much more core solutions to the issue that would be a lot less controversial. I think looking at it as just something that happens and we need a cure is a misguided philosophy. I think that we need to be looking at comprehensive solutions, which look not only how to cure the opioid epidemic, but how to prevent it by investing in our young people, investing in education, investing in programs like affordable housing and job opportunities in our region. I don't think you can deny, or anybody can deny, that that would help the issue, and I don't think that would be controversial whatsoever.
That makes good sense. Getting to the core solutions that are causing the epidemics of drugs, rather than trying to simply talk about encouraging people not to use drugs. We need to encourage government to provide employment so that people are actively engaged in work and in having a full life on the Cape. Now, one of the things that every so often, the idea of abolishing county government comes up, and I think we have a candidate running for commissioner who very, very vehemently opposes the whole idea of county government. And how can we argue against that? The view is that there is 15 so many millions of dollars that are costing us to have county government, and but we need to have a persuasive argument to support county government. And can you weigh in on that?
Absolutely. I think many people don't know the fact that what county government provides. If I can say so myself, I think for every dollar that comes, for every tax dollar or revenue dollar that comes into county government from the Cape, you get more out of it than almost any other form of government regionally, at least here. I think that's in large part because, honestly, county government does not run on a large budget. That's why I've described it before as a really creative institution. Very few people know that our county government has a Department of Health, which coordinates a variety of healthcare organizations on the Cape, private and public, and they were on top of it when the COVID crisis hit. They were making plans to react to COVID and to test and quarantine and help people get cured prior to any action being taken on a state or federal level. They were doing this in early February and late January. I think additionally, we have the community, the name is escaping right now, but they exist. Their sole purpose is to coordinate amongst the towns to meet certain criteria to lower flood insurance prices for people that live here locally. It's a program that's available for anybody to take part in. However, a lot of towns wouldn't even be aware of it, much less actively going through the steps needed had there not been this position created. Just last week, there was a position created, obviously with the economic crisis right now, to coordinate food banks in our region. these kind of programs oftentimes aren't even funded through direct tax dollars here on our region. Instead, they take advantage of resources that are for the taking from the federal and state governments. So yeah, I think that our county government, we're really lucky to have one, and they exist in order to make things run better. There's no downside to our county government because they collect almost no tax revenue on our towns, and they only need to be there when they're useful.
You make a very good case for county government. Yes, very good. And we want to remind viewers that the election is coming right up. You will be on the ballot in November, and so we'll tell viewers that you're hoping to get their vote to be Falmouth's representative to the Assembly of Delegates. And I wish you very good luck. I hope things go well for you, and also that you have a wonderful school year. It sounds as if you're off to a very good start. And so I thank you very much for being on the program. And we do want to encourage everyone to vote, however they vote, either in person or by mail. It's going to be very important. This is a crucial election, and I don't know if you want to add your thoughts to that about this election.
Absolutely, I think this election on almost every level is going to be one of the most influential in a while, definitely of my lifetime. And at the same time, I think it's really, regardless of who you're voting for, it's invaluable to take advantage of even the way voting has become easier this year. Most of the viewers, I'm sure, are going to get their ballots in the mail, which I think is a tremendous thing. I think it should be permanent. I see no reason why it shouldn't be. And so I think there is really no excuse not to vote this year. And I would absolutely encourage everyone, regardless of who you're voting for, to make sure that you do vote. You can still request a ballot up until October 26th. So if you have not done so, you can do it online through the Secretary of State's website, or you can do it by mail. You can drop off a note requesting a ballot with your signature and your home address to the town hall, as far as I know. But make sure you get your ballot, make sure you vote, and do stay safe doing it.
Well, thank you very much, Dan, and I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. And viewers, thank you for viewing. We'll see you next time on Conversations with Barbara.